to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. So we have 2 appointments. I would seek Nick.
Madam Chair, before you even get going, would you go ahead and amend your agenda?
Yes.
It is it's an item that I did not include because of the snow day 2 weeks ago. I intended to put it on. So you need to add reappointment of William Rice to the Capital Region Council of Government Regional Planning Commission. And so that because it wasn't shown on the agenda, you've got to add it to the agenda and then vote on it.
All right. So.
And I would put that after minutes.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So we're going to seat Nick and Marcus tonight. All right. Bill, you want to walk us through that?
No, I mean I need you to make a motion and amend the agenda. Like
Is it after the minutes?
No, you should do it right. No,
Okay,
place it after
sorry.
the minutes. You need to do it right now before we get going.
I was going by. Sorry
no,
about that.
it's okay.
No,
That's right.
So
I
I'm
probably
gonna
wasn't
seat
clear.
them. No, that's my. So I'm going to move that we amended the agenda to add the appointment of Bill Rice to CROG. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of amending the agenda to vote on the appointment of Bill Rice to CROG, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so that carries unanimously, and we will add that to, we can vote on that after the minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's what that arrow meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Aaron, I don't have the January 23rd minutes.
I thought I read them.
Right, so did you seat the alternates
saw.
as appropriate?
Yeah, yes, I seated Marcus and Nick. Yes.
Okay, now I have.
And I can put them on the board if you want. Yeah, we didn't do tablets tonight. I apologize. We're running around a little bit.
So this is January 9th.
No,
No, I think
that would be January
23rd?
That's the minutes, but the January 9th approval of minutes had an amendment on the January 9th one.
So this is from the last meeting. Yeah, you're right. I thought I had it.
So it wasn't in your Dropbox? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Huh.
I thought it was.
It was for the meeting before that got canceled, but.
Yeah, but those were the same ones. They would have been the 23rd.
I didn't see it.
Okay. So what I would do is I would simply put this on your next meeting.
It's in the Dropbox, right?
So either you can approve these tonight, or we can place them on your next meeting
No,
agenda.
they're there. They're in the Dropbox.
Okay.
All right, Jordan, why don't you bring them up?
Yeah, they're up.
Because I read through them, I didn't see any.
They're up.
Okay, so here we have the minutes for the regular meeting of the planning commission, Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. Any comments to the first page? Any comments to the second page? Any
So, yeah,
comments on the third page? All right,
That was
I make
easy.
a motion
Good job, everybody.
to accept the minutes as submitted.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of accepting the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Minutes passed unanimously. Thank you, Amanda.
You're very welcome.
All right, and now with the amended agenda, we have the reappointment of Bill Rice to CROG, and I understand, Bill, you are interested in being reappointed.
That is correct.
And we
yeah.
would love you to represent us at
Okay.
CROG. So do we have a motion to?
I move that we vote Bill to represent us at CROG.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sorry.
No, that's, yep. And any discussion? No? All those in favor of appointing, reappointing Bill Rice to CROG, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
All right, so new business, we have a public hearing. I know we got something here from Ellen Gilbert. It is a public hearing, so you will be able to make a public comment after, at the end. So I just wanted to be sure that you knew.
Oh,
So you can feel free to do that. Yeah, sure, absolutely. So we have an application, PC 24-02 of Infinity for LCC, owner applicant for re-subdivision of Lot 2A on the property located at 70 Hot Meadow Street, zone PAD. So do we have, George, do you want to start us out? Or
Yeah, so the applicant is here, but let me just run you through a couple slides that kind of frames the issue. This is this will be familiar to you, the property, as you considered a subdivision of lot 1C earlier this year. So this is a re-subdivision request, and re-subdivisions require your review and public hearing. It is a 13-acre parcel located at 70 Hot Meadow. There is undeveloped frontage, and the rear portion, as you'll see, contains the open now Talcott Mountain self-storage. The request is to subdivide that 13 acres into two parcels, which would become Lot 2 and Lot 2A, and they would be a 7.27 acre parcel, which would be the undeveloped balanced portion at Hot Meadow Street, and then the existing self-storage would be a 5.75 acre parcel. Essentially what it does is it allows the Talcott Mountain storage parcel to be on the Talcott Mountain self-storage business to be on its own parcel, and then have a remainder up front for future development. I remind you that this is the master plan for this area. This was a master plan that was approved back in 2016, 2017, and even earlier than that. But it contemplates development. Of course, you've got Aspen Green already established on one side. You've got Curaleaf in the middle, and you've got some future development parcels on the south side, and then future parcels to be developed on the north side. As you see from the master plan included several office buildings, but the applicant also had the right under the I-1 zoning to build the self-storage, so that was kind of above and beyond what the master plan. The master plan still calls for development up front. The applicant would have to be substantially conform to any of the development up front. May be an issue where they may have to come in and update that master plan. There is a significant buffer. I think there's a 100-foot buffer along Hot Meadow. That's part of that master plan. That's where you can see that open area up front with no building footprints in it. And I think there's a kind of a significant setback as well along there, over 200 feet, if I remember right. So this is the parcel that I've outlined that is the subject of the subdivision. A little bit different orientation, and this is before the self-storage was there, but this is the total parcel. We call it parcel 2. And so we'd be creating, essentially taking that 13 acres and making them 2 parcels. Now, if you overlay the storage facility on it, the new parcel up front is undeveloped, and then you have the existing self-storage facility to the rear. And again, the applicant has submitted the plat, the subdivision plan that shows meets and bounds. Staff finds that it is consistent with your subdivision regulations, and then I would defer to the applicant, Mr. Korea, or Mr. Heskin Mr. Zayas. Mr. Zayas to offer anything additional. Sorry, Dave.
That's okay. Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the Commission. Dave Zayas with F.A. Heskin Associates. Very quickly, just to follow up on what George was saying, this is very similar to what we were here back maybe 2 months ago, where we created the other small lot down at the south end. This is purely just financial purposes. The self-storage facility would like to be on its own parcel for financing purposes, and then that leaves the parcel in the front that we're creating available for future development. And that would, again, as George pointed out, any future development there would come back through the whole site plan approval process. And if there is some change to the master plan necessary, that creates another whole process. But as for tonight's purposes, we're basically drawing a line on the map and creating another lot, just like we did back a couple months ago. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Do you have anything in mind for development, or have you, it's not gotten that?
No, to be honest with you, I doodled a number of different scenarios, but nothing's has stuck right now as far as I understand.
But
But-
any development that would occur there could have occurred without this re-subdivision.
That's right. Yes,
And-
that's
and it'll
correct.
comply with all the requirements of the existing PAD.
That is correct.
So it's not going to trigger any extra or different type of development.
No.
Now, there is a buffer, you said, so it won't be right up against the road.
No, there's that mass. Oh, I'm sorry. Dave.
Yeah, no, that's, as George was pointing out, that was established as actually, it's called on the plans a conservation area,
Mhm.
but it's basically an open space area,
Mhm.
and it's a 100-foot strip. Goes all the way over to the driveway that leads to Aspen Apartments.
I think technically there's an easement recorded
There is,
in favor
it's
of
on
the,
all our
in
plans.
favor of the
Oh, yeah,
town.
yeah.
That 100 feet for
Yes.
that 100-foot area.
And it allows, open landscaping areas and
I was
things of
gonna
that
say,
nature.
so they could landscape.
You
it
could
and make
landscape
it-
it nice. I think that
okay.
was the intent, to do
That's,
something, yeah.
okay.
So is there, I'm sorry,
Oh,
is
yeah.
there any intent?
Oh, hold on, you can't, you have to wait, yes, so once they're done, no, that's okay, that's okay. Once they're done, then we'll ask people to
Okay.
come up, state your name, where you live, and you can
Oh,
make
good.
comments. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep a look.
Yeah, but in answer to your question, yes, it's an open space conservation. It's already been dedicated, so
Okay,
they're gonna have to work around that.
yep. And there's no changing that, George, right? That's in there, so they can't,
No, that's in perpetuity.
yep, okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
So this is an old plan, right?
Well, what I'm showing you here is the approved master plan.
Okay.
Now, this master plan doesn't have the
Storage
storage facility on it. No,
Okay.
it does not. Because they didn't have to update the master plan because they were using an underlying zoning use that was permitted. That's permitted as a matter of right, essentially.
We're just talking about shaving off the top section of that shaven red.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's you draw the line.
You got the next slide there.
I know, but it doesn't have the.
Oh, yeah,
It doesn't really have the.
yeah, there you go.
There you
Yeah.
go, 2/3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where is Talcott Acres relative to that parcel? Because I'm not really understanding how close.
Talcott Acres is not in a butter to this property.
On the water. Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't missing something.
Yeah, I mean, just going off the bottom of the page, that's the Curaleaf facility,
Yeah.
and then the bike path on the right hand
Yeah,
side.
if you think about it, from top down, it's site, Curaleaf, Aspen Green, Town of Avon.
What's to the north of this parcel?
It's the big office buildings, yeah. The old Chubb
Yeah,
Insurance
old
buildings.
Chubb site.
And then I think the front ones are medical uses now, maybe?
Might be,
Yeah. But in the back, just off the sheet, is the large Chubb office building.
yeah, you can see the parking lot.
Yeah, that's a big parking lot that they built
Here.
after the fact,
That's the Chubb stuff there.
back when everybody used to go to work every day.
And now, the 100 feet easement is, if I'm looking at Curaleaf, it's affected almost like that, similarly?
Yeah, it's,
How far would it be?
you kind of think, if you see this, here's a driveway here, so that's probably close to about 100 feet.
Yeah.
Maybe a little
It
less.
runs
So
right along the
you kind
entire
of
frontage of
extend
the
that,
highway.
it's, it
Yeah.
really probably, I don't want to speak for the property owners, but probably leaves, really just probably one pad site on that frontage to be
Oh,
constructed.
Definitely, yeah.
Not much more than that.
Yeah.
I would have more questions.
Any other questions? So now, anybody wants to come up, can I ask that they come up here and just state
So
your
why don't you
name?
go first?
Okay.
My name is Ellen Gilbert. I live in Talcott Acres at 126 Hot Meadow. And I have lived there since 1997, so I've seen, I've lived there to see a lot of changes on Hot Meadow Street. And So, am I allowed to ask questions? Because there are things I don't understand.
No, it's really public comment.
It's just comments, okay. There is a letter here that I wrote this afternoon, and the purpose of the letter is we are seeing a lot of changes on Hot Meadow Street. Now we know that Vessel is going to be building their building at 446 Hot Meadow. And right now, we're going back to the drawing board as far as the Hartford Insurance Company property. I go to so many different meetings. I go to zoning board, I go to wetlands, and I come to this meeting a couple of times. I go to the senior center. I'm involved with some other groups. A lot of people have said to me, Ellen, I can't stand that self-storage place. And to me, I don't see it very much when I go by. I appreciate that there's a berm. There are some planted vegetation on top. But what's in between that and Hot Meadow Street is something that is still important to Hot Meadow Street. And when I stop at Old Meadow Plain at that light, I stand there and I look at what grows there through the different seasons. And so when I read that this parcel is looking at a subdivision, then after a subdivision, I'm seeing in my head, okay, that's going to be commercial. Another building is going to go in on Hot Meadow Street there. And I don't understand what was said about open space. If that were still kept mostly open space and allowed to grow wild like it does, and those massive trees still be there, I wouldn't have a problem. But I am worried that another part of Hot Meadow Street is going to be developed and made big. My condo complex has been there for 36 years. We have a curvy driveway and you can't even see us. That's the Hartford Insurance Company was put way back. You couldn't see it. Right now, Simsbury is going through a huge pressure to build on open areas, and I don't want to see that happening. And it is in my neighborhood. I'm 126. This is 70. I go to Avon for all my everything, my post office, my Big Y, everything, and it's hard. It's emotional for me, and I think that if all those people who had spoken to me in the last 2 months, if they knew, they would be saying something too. The other thing is driving by the stone wall that goes into that complex, and I can't remember what it says, business center or something, but if the property owner can put some vegetation along there, it would help to screen those buildings, you know, the top of the garages, and that might help some of those people to me that had complained. So I think says what I need to say. So I thank you. I'm not trying to keep business from coming to Simsbury, but I also don't want Hot Meadow Street to just become all big buildings of business. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you did answer one of my questions, and I'm going to yield my time, like Ms. Gail Lindell, to Jeffrey Lindell.
Thank you. Jeff Langdell. We live at 6 Old Meadow Way, which is the closest adjoining property as I see it. We're directly across the street from this. In fact, while I appreciate the berm that went in there, it does absolutely nothing to protect our view of the storage units. We're beyond that. So every window that we look out of our house now, we look directly into these large lights. And so we've got, a dozen bright lights, all through the winter, every morning, every evening, that we're staring into. So quality of life is definitely decreased for us. I understand it's somebody owns the land, they can do what they want to some extent, but I'm just saying that it is definitely not, appreciated. I wish the berm were such that it protected us. I think it does a good job for northbound cars, but for us directly across the street, and there's 5 houses in that community, and we live directly out there at that. So my wish would be that they would, that anything that does happen there would take that into account. I would love to see, more berm, a berm that's closer in that 100-foot, on that 100-foot line, perhaps just being closer would help us, right, in our line of sight, and with trees on top, perhaps that would help. And I trust that our planning commission, if that's the right commission, has the building specs require certain types of lighting to prevent light pollution. I will say that the lights that are on those storage units are downward facing, which is very much better than it could have been. And there are no parking lights in the in the parking lots. But this new parcel right up against the road, if there's dozens of parking lights, I'd be very concerned with the glow of the parking lights, out our windows. My biggest concerns would be the lights, and then there's the noise. There's those parking lots will be cleared, of snow, and so you get the beep 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 all night long on a snow night. So those are primary concerns for me. I'd say also that there are some very nice couple 100-year-old oaks out there on the road, and I just took a picture of a pair of bald eagles sitting on them last week, so that they do like that spot. So I don't know whether we are stipulating that is kept, or just, I know there was some language earlier on that some of the views have to be present. But I'll just share that about the trees. Also, traffic. I'm assuming, I think I heard earlier on that there was traffic pattern would be, for the storage unit was going to be where it is, off the side road. But with this new parcel, does that mean that they can resubmit for a new road and a new traffic light and so on? So I'll just leave that as a question and a concern. The screen on a previous slide, it did show the original plan, and with like 10 office buildings, something like that. Is that what those are, office buildings?
They are.
I don't see a 100-foot berm there, 100-foot leeway. It looks like they're right on the street.
No, here. This is 100 feet. Oh. Madam Chair, may I answer?
Yes.
This is 100 feet here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's flipped around, isn't it? Okay, got it. Got it. Also, those are the buildings there. So it's just a couple buildings.
That was
the
in the original.
The original plan,
Yeah,
right.
that's-
So it'd be
it
different.
doesn't
This
look
is a
like that.
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the other thing, just speaking selfishly, it's now a narrow parcel. Selfishly speaking, I would certainly appreciate any of the buildings, to be on the south end facing perpendicular to the street. Then you wouldn't have any of the lights going towards the street. They would be perpendicular towards nobody. And I'm hoping that narrow parcel would lend itself to that. So signage and, lights and signage are an issue. If there's lit signs and lit signs on the street, I mean, that'd be devastating, so.
Sorry, Jim.
Yeah.
George,
Sir.
this original plan
Yes, sir.
shows a driveway off of Hot Meadow.
It does.
Okay, is that right across from Old Meadow Plain?
It is.
So that's a signal?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so that is the plan.
Well, that was the plan.
That's the oak trees too, by the way. Okay, yeah,
But the
so.
driveway's there now to get into the storage.
No.
Oh,
Is
no,
it?
no, it's off the Chubb Road.
Access
Oh,
here.
that's right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just sharing my concerns and, what guidance that I would like to see for, that I would hope that the town would appreciate also is, it's good to have that 100 foot. I'd love to see a berm in there. And I think we need to be careful with signage and road entrance and lights. Okay, appreciate your,
Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to point out one thing with regards to that potential driveway across from Old Meadow Plains. Yeah. At this point, the intent is to share the driveway with the self-storage and come out at the light at Chubb driveway, and avoid all the expense and time and aggravation of trying to break through onto Route 10. So that's really where things are going right now.
Which would be good, because then you could preserve trees and.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
Okay.
Plus, we got a lot of topsoil to get rid of again, so.
Okay. But you're right, it would certainly, it's there.
And Madam Chair, if you don't mind, if I'll just kind of add to just
Sure.
help the public discourse, that an application like this is for the subdivision of the property. When there's a user and when there's a proposal for office or retail or whatever it is, that would be a site plan application that would be reviewed by the zoning commission, and there would be a submission of a site plan and architectural details and lighting, and design review board would review the lighting and those kinds of details. So there would be probably not a public hearing process, because it would be a site plan process, but it would be a public process, and the commission would review those items.
And would come here, because we would have to give a referral.
It would not come to
Oh,
you
it wouldn't
unless the only time it would come to you if they have to change the master plan.
Oh, okay.
It's not going to come back to you for just a site plan. It'll just
Okay.
go to the zoning commission.
So the point
Yeah.
you made earlier, they could submit that plan today, it just would be a part of the same process.
They could build that today.
Right.
Yeah, again, they could build it today, but it's site plan process with the zoning commission
Of course,
and
yeah.
those kinds of things, yeah.
This is just,
So this looks like, well, I mean,
it's like an administrative change more than anything.
it's administrative procedure for sure, for just the subdivision piece, for sure, yeah.
Sorry, I'll let you make this up.
George, as we consider a motion on this, if we were to go forward with the subdivision, could we put in any protections for the
I
neighborhood?
tend to think that's not within your purview, no. I do not. Those are, you would be recommending conditions of approval not associated with the subdivision. And they are site plan recommendations and not related to the subdivision. I mean, I would caution against doing that.
Mhm. Are there any other public comments?
Would I make a motion that we close the public hearing?
Is there a second? Second by Nick. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously, so the public hearing is closed. All right. Any of the commissioners have any questions, comments?
So, I did prepare a draft motion for you.
Oh, we can figure it out.
He did.
Right.
Oh, I thought you said you
I-
didn't.
oh, I
was
did.
like, okay, I need to get my computers. Okay. So, someone want to make the motion?
Since we're all staring at it, you could simply move the draft motion.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
do-
you don't want to get too
well, let's-
complicated. Or,
So I vote to approve the draft motion.
So you move to.
Yeah, I would move.
Make a motion
Make a motion to, yes, to, that's the motion.
to adopt the draft motion.
Correct.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor of adopting the draft motion before us, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care, George. See you soon.
So I've got some general commission business for you tonight.
Okay.
Wanted to give you an update on the Tariffville neighborhood plan. We put that to RFP. We did receive 7 responses as of the deadline of February 15. Staff kind of had a big week last week with zoning commission and vessel application and the Silverman application. We haven't really fully engrossed ourselves in those draft RFPs or those submitted RFPs. So we're going to go ahead and review it and just see how the scopes are different and do some comparison and contrast and those kinds of things. I did put those items in your Dropbox, so they are there for your review. Typically, what we would do is staff would review, and we would use kind of a grading system, and then bring. Now we haven't done this with me before. So what I would normally do is we would do an in-house staff review, 2 or 3 or 4 staff members, maybe from different departments or from engineering. So. And then we would bring to you our score sheets and our recommendation for interviews, perhaps maybe to bring 1 or 2 firms in for kind of a final. I'm more than happy to do it a different way if that's your desire, but that's normally how we'd have a conversation about, hey, this is what staff would recommend taking a look at these for these reasons, but you certainly can.
Do you have standard criteria or standard weighting that we typically do?
No, but I mean, I have standard weighting that I would typically do. So yeah. So the answer is yes. And I'm happy to share that with you and send it to you.
Dropbox if we want to review them ourselves. I typically get a bunch of them today.
Yeah.
I didn't get through all of them, just like you said, they're lengthy.
There are a lot, and each approach is kind of different. I do want to make a couple points though. So we are funded in FY24 for $50,000 to do this stuff. Remember, we did a POCD update for 35. It ended up being a little bit more at the end. I did not anticipate these to come in at this high. I mean, I will just say that. So that's what I mean. I would like to go through those scopes and see where there's some ability to refine, even if for each of them, and maybe ask for new estimates or do those kinds of things. It seems an awful lot to me to do neighborhood plans for $100,000, particularly if we plan on doing 3 or 4 or 5 more neighborhood plans in the next 6 to 8 years. That seems awfully expensive to me, and I'm not sure that's the best way to use taxpayer money. So I think I would like to work with you to figure out whether we can maybe cut that scope down a little bit and figure out what our expectations really are and what we really want to get out of these neighborhood planning processes.
It wasn't clear to me in the RFP what the budget was or what the range was.
So we try not really to,
Right, you know what?
try not really to say, because if you say it's 50, they come in at 49. If you say it's 100, they come in at 100. So the answer is that I think there's some reasonableness to a higher, a little bit higher than 50, but not that high.
No, I assume that's why they came in at 100, because I assume that
Well,
it was 100, but yeah. Fair
I mean,
enough.
we're funded at 50 for FY24. I have put in the budget, are requesting another 50 for FY25. I mean, I can't. I mean, they're right in the middle of the budget process. I can't imagine that's going to be removed through the budget process.
Well, to your point,
It's a
there's
pretty
5
big.
or 6 of these due in the POCD
Right.
implementation.
Right, there are, and I really have to, in our capital future needs, I have put, even though the budget is an annual budget, it's 1 year at a time. Even if I put 50 through 2032, I don't. That's just for discussion purposes, like to show our intent that we want kind of an institutional funded process to do all these neighborhood plans. So all that is to say, I'm going to work with finance to see if there's any FY24 options. And we do have some planning funds, some for some old zoning ordinance funds, and see whether we can cull together something to get moving. I think the worst case scenario is that we would wait till Jan 1 to sign a contract. July 1. July 1, sorry. We would wait till July 1 to,
Okay.
we'd be delayed by, 4 months.
Okay.
Your idea to assess scope.
Yeah, I would start with scope. I mean, because
Yep.
even if we waited to July 1, I mean, if there's some savings in scope, we should take advantage of that.
When we did the RFP for the POCD, how many years ago, that's what they did.
Yep.
They looked, I mean,
Yep.
that was the process we
Yep.
used years ago.
Yep.
So I would say yes, have the town staff take a look. I'd like a choice though, so I think it would be better to have like 2 maybe come in and do an interview.
As many as you want.
Yeah, no, I think
Sure,
we,
sure.
to bring the top 2 in, but that you guys have done, and so
Okay.
I think that makes sense. Does anybody have any?
Yeah,
Three proposals.
Yeah.
That's the standard.
Well,
That-
I think
that's great. We'd be happy to bring 3 in.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
Might
look
not
at
get
all of them.
7, that's fine.
That makes sense.
Depends on how you
I figured,
get-
well, they had 7, so I think when we did it before, we didn't have that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're just asking somebody
Some
to
of
come
them
in and
do,
do a
some-
20-minute
Right,
proposal. I mean,
Some are clear, you don't
Yes,
want to go
some make
that
sense,
way.
some don't.
Right, some are, others are, hey, these are really close.
Understood.
But there is certain negotiation in there,
Yeah.
so that we can.
now that's so Mr. Goldman, that's actually a good point. I mean, so the other option would be to kind of select somebody and then negotiate that scope down from whatever their
Right.
proposal was.
Yeah,
As opposed to kind of doing it now. But again, the scopes are all different and the approaches are all different. I'm going to at least try to give you guys an apples to apples comparison of what I think is being proposed and what isn't. The total number of meeting nights are different and the total number of public events are all different across the 7 proposals. And that's where the money is,
Right.
when they're coming and spending the day here, 4 days is a lot more expensive than 1 day. And so we kind of have to figure out what's best for us. And again, we're not in any hurry. I mean,
No.
we want to
No,
get these
that's
things
right,
moving,
right.
but we'll get it done.
and actually, when you do your review, there might only be 2 that rise to the top. Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
we'll
Yeah, I don't wanna-
just use,
Yeah, I won't prejudge. But,
we trust you.
Um,
But thank you for that update.
So, the other thing that we need to begin to move on is what your approach and what you're going to recommend in terms of how we tackle the question of POCD implementation. So what we did was Glenn and I put all of the implementation items together in one document, as opposed to how they are in the POCD today. They're in each chapter, and so they're all in one document for you to look at. I don't think we need to go through them, but I think we need to consider whether and how you might want to do a prioritization exercise. Glenn and I have talked about doing that, and including other land use boards and commissions to either in person by me putting that on their agenda, for instance, on the zoning commissions. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a little test run with the zoning commission next week.
I saw it on the agenda.
Because we don't have any applications. It's a perfect night to do this. And I'm going to walk them through each and every one of the 16, 18, 22, 24 action items for the zoning commission. Maybe there's a little bit less than that. And just they have to do their own kind of priority setting, and they want to, which the previous zoning commissions maybe hadn't done. But so I'm going to try to walk them through it and see if I can get them to prioritize the zoning stuff. And then I'll see how that goes. And then maybe, one of the problems is if you look at your leaders and partners cheat sheet, which is I also added that, so you can kind of see what all the abbreviations are. There's 22 leaders and partners. I can't go to every one of these organizations as part of the prioritization. And some of them are small. Some of them don't have that many. I think we should kind of focus on your primary land use boards and commissions to help prioritize. So we can do that. I can do that by mail. We can send them it all and have them, put their own little sticky dots. That was kind of what Glenn had done previously in other towns. kind of do a mailer, or I could attend a meeting and just do an exercise with them. We can do that.
When you say prioritize, so it would be zoning, or what would you
So
consider?
I think
I mean, zoning definitely.
you know, one way to kind of help do this is that you can do it a couple of ways. You know, the first is to go to the organizations that you've assigned 16 items and let them prioritize those on their own. Now, the other thing you can do is you can prioritize it by yourself. That's the other option here. Is that this is your plan? You are the owners of this policy process. It's always good to get the input of the folks we've kind of assigned these things to. It doesn't do any good for you to pick the zoning commission's priorities. Let them do that, because they're going to want, they're going to pick the things they want to work on. But I do think that is a good way to do it, is to do that prioritization in that manner. And maybe just by going to those boards and saying, here are the implementation items from the POCD, and this is what the Planning Commission has asked you to consider and prioritize. I mean, that's probably heavy lifting for staff, but I don't think there's any other way to do it.
Okay. As a liaison to sustainability, and they're all gung-ho.
I know they are.
I volunteer to liaise with them and have them establish priorities
Yeah.
for this.
That'd be great.
That would be great and a helpful way to do it. And then we would,
And I can do that
we
with
would
our
kind of give
business.
you back, some order of magnitude, and that kind of leads us into the second, which is question of a POCD implementation committee. I mean, I am not anxious to staff another committee, but these committees seem to be helpful in many towns. And there's a lot of towns that have them. And so that POCD implementation committee, again, could be appointed by this planning commission. I talked to the town attorney today. It could be an ad hoc committee of this commission, since you're an elected body. It doesn't have to be the Board of Selectmen who does this. But again, it would be, most of them meet quarterly and just kind of report, and you become that committee becomes the liaison back to you and to the community in terms of benchmarking and checking in on these other organizations who might be assigned as primary partners. So it could include. So this is just speculative. It could include 2 planning commissioners, 2 zoning commissioners, 2 board of selectmen, 2 open space committee members, 2 conservation commission members. For instance, there's your primary land use boards, but there could be other folks you may identify. I would never do a committee like that more than 7 or 9 people maximum. You get over that, it's just not. It's 2. So, we talked about it when Glenn was here as part of the POCD process, and it is in the POCD to recommend an implementation committee. We know that one thing we haven't done well as a community throughout all of the POCDs we've done is managed implementation and tracked implementation and benchmarked implementation and scored ourselves relative to implementation. So that the implementation committee is one way to at least take a step forward to do it. Again, you guys can act as the implementation committee if you wanted to. We would put it on your agenda, every month, and do a report and have conversations. But it doesn't. It seems to be. I think it's probably better to open your arms and invite other boards and commissions to sit at that table with you.
Yeah, I agree. I know. I really think there needs to be representation from other boards and commissions, because yes, we came up with the POCD, but it's really there across the board to help, and I just feel like we need the input. We're the drivers, so I would be in favor of doing an implementation committee and somehow with members from the other land use boards. So I don't know what other people think.
Well, identify the priorities first and then get an implementation committee involved, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree. I think awareness
Yeah.
will be best at each of the different, land use commissions would be number one.
Right, and which is, I think, what he's talking about, the prioritization. And going to those boards, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, can we not just post this publicly and ask each of the committees to update their progress on a monthly basis, and then George just want to review it monthly or quarterly, and kind of discuss progress and make sure it's focused where it needs to be. I don't know. It seems like
So I think we could do that. I think you will find, without the cajoling and without the expectation that they kind of bring their own committee's interest to it, to a meeting on a regular basis. I just don't think you're going to have those commissions are all doing other things. And it's going to end up.
I think we need to be in the same room
In the-
talking.
yeah, I think
that's
there
part
is
of-
there's
part of
value
the
to
issue.
that.
There is value to that, and I think we haven't done that.
And that's why I only see that committee only meeting on a quarterly
Yeah,
basis.
quarterly.
All the checking up and the liaising and the, hey, did you guys start that process yet? Or did you, I don't know, the Conservation Commission, have you adopted your invasive species language yet? That stuff can all kind of take place without those meetings as well. So, yeah. I think for the prioritization though, Mr. Cristelli, that's, for those other organizations, yeah, I think I would send that to those individual organizations and, help us and say, can you prioritize the things that have been assigned to you? Without going to every single,
Right.
go down there and look at all these different groups.
Yeah. You also don't want to spend a year prioritizing.
Yeah, I think that's right, and that there's danger in doing that.
So somewhere along the line, somebody might have to take a charge and just finalize the list and then assign it to the implementation committee. They will assign and control on a regular basis, what's done, what's the priority. Sometimes the priorities will change.
And they could change, that's all true, yes.
But I like the idea, to circulate this, get the priorities straight
Okay.
as soon as possible, and then get an implementation committee from different participation
Okay.
from different boards of committees.
We would just have to figure out what the makeup of that implementation.
Yeah, I think staff would draft some
Yeah.
skeleton format, and again, it will be up to you to chew on it and finalize it. And again, roles and responsibilities are important so that they're clear and articulated, and that committee is manageable.
But it would have to be a separate meeting. It can't be done in one of ours and have people come.
No, I would have it separate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, let's be careful with the implementation committee, because, George, you mentioned, kind of keep it small. Because if you make it too big,
Mhm.
you're gonna end up having people on the implementation committee who are supposed to be implementing this stuff,
Right.
not,
Yeah.
bird dogging it.
Right.
Yeah, the implementation committee is almost a reporting mechanism.
Yeah.
It reports in and out
Yeah.
back to you.
Yeah.
George, please see how it goes over with the
Okay,
zoning
yeah, we'll do
commission.
that. No.
And then we should do our own.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to do your own. We can do that at our next meeting, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that.
So that's homework, everyone.
Yeah. So start doing that, and then maybe I'll send you some parameters. Top 20 immediate, next 20, bottom 20, or something like that. And there's 100 action steps in there, so it's not the easiest thing to do.
I just thought we were doing the PC one.
Well, maybe you should do them all. You want to just do those?
Oh, I agree, Julie. I thought we would just be doing.
Yeah, no, you're
Why
right.
don't we
You
start
can do
with
that.
I could
Start with your own.
And see what the other committees want to do with.
So, all right, so a couple other things, just on details. I sent you the tables in the Dropbox in Excel as well. So that Excel can be sorted by all those categories in Excel.
What was that?
You can so you have an Excel spreadsheet and a PDF in your. So the Excel spreadsheet can be sorted to make it easier for you to review. You can bring up only whatever ones assigned here or open space ones or
Super cool.
Yeah, I know Julie likes that kind
I
of
like
thing.
my Excel stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not great at that.
All right, so that's what I will do. I will begin the process of
We could
getting
take
the
a look at
priority.
town ones too, right?
Say again?
For us, we could take a look at town and,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, and I think that part of that is a conversation or a prioritization with the board of selectmen. They have some things that have been assigned to them, and I would work with the town manager's office to do that. I'm not gonna bother them until they finish budget, I'll tell you that.
well, town is, yeah, I was not looking at Board of Selectmen, I was just looking at town.
Yeah,
Well, and I'll be honest, maybe I was
Maybe I'm
bifurcating way too much. Like, maybe I said ongoing, I wasn't gonna prioritize that. I was gonna prioritize the stuff that wasn't.
so I
ongoing.
think the red items are really the action steps.
That's where I was.
That's how I kinda read.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't gonna go through the black stuff.
Yeah,
Right,
there are clear action steps, things to do,
The red
not the
items.
things that say continue or,
or promote,
yeah, those I would deprioritize those,
so the red. Yeah.
unless there's action steps.
And let's be realistic, some things lead to others, so you cannot just prioritize number one if it follows number two. Right?
Agreed.
Good.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And if, again, I do want to
So,
make sure that you know as a group that hit me with an email if you've got a question or a concern. Or, I mean, we don't have to always go just every 2 weeks when we talk about, particularly now when we're trying to kind of figure this implementation piece out. Hey, what if we do it this way? Hey, George, did you send this to them? Hit me with it. Okay?
so the first step, there's a couple of things, you're gonna go to zoning.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a look and do a prioritization, we're gonna, like, I think Angel said, we'll have homework. We are gonna develop an implementation committee.
Yes.
an ad hoc
And I will draw
members,
some.
and-
I'll
which
put
will
some
be-
parameters on that for you to look at your next meeting as well.
Yeah.
And again, I don't have any particular thoughts or ownership on that. But.
And Holly, I think you were gonna talk to sustainability, and I can talk to.
Yeah, and I'm happy to come there too
Open
and talk to
space.
Mark. I haven't been to see them in about a year and a half, I don't think. So I'm happy to come to that meeting and do it. So
Don't worry, once you get started, you'll be hearing.
no, I know. I talked to
The
them.
Historic District Commission hasn't met in a while.
They haven't, but they've got some things there that we can. And that
Yeah.
would be a good reason for them to meet,
To meet,
frankly.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, so I can do that as well.
And CWC with Marjorie, they'll be excited to.
Yes.
prioritize.
Conservation Commission, we'll try to do this. I see them very similar to the zoning commission.
Zoning,
They're
exactly.
active and ready, and so we'll have that meeting with them and
Okay.
do the same thing.
Okay.
I'll let Aaron, you can do the open space committee.
Yeah, I'll do open space and
I like that.
historic district.
Okay.
We can do, yeah.
Okay, I've got some marching orders there, so great.
right.
And I just wanted to follow up just with a couple updates on things. I know I sent an email out, but just want to say it again in public that your 2024 Town of Simsbury Plan of Conservation and Development was awarded the Connecticut chapter of the American Planning Association's 2024 Planning Award for Innovation. That is a big deal, a really big deal.
It is.
We should be quite proud of your effort and your work on that. It'll be awarded at a luncheon in the end of March at a chapter meeting, essentially a chapter luncheon with annual awards. So,
No, thanks for doing that.
and I'll bring that back to you.
Thanks for all your
Big
work
award.
too.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It really
It
is.
is, yeah.
I'm proud of it. All right, just a couple other things. Yeah, so the zoning commission. I know this is an item that really didn't come to you, but certainly everybody around town knows about the zoning commission. Authorized the town attorney and Vessel's attorney to enter a settlement agreement with State Superior Court. That some of the deal points on that were a reduction in height from 4 stories to 3 stories, a reduction in total number of units from 80 on the original submission to 64, which was heard at public hearing, down to 48 total units. Some additional landscaping, but that's primarily less, more brown and less white in terms of architectural elevations, or more earth toned. The Hartford South, you've probably heard, the Hartford South application was denied by the Zoning Commission last Wednesday by a vote of 5-1. And then finally, the Zoning Commission could not find a way forward on food trucks. They had kind of just conflicting ideas on how to best do that, and ended up withdrawing that application again. So there was no finality to that. So there's
So we'll
no
hear
text
back.
amendment.
We'll hear in the future.
If it comes back, it comes back, and you would have to review it
Yeah.
if it came back to you.
For Hartford South,
Yep.
and pardon me for not following this, did the developer go in with any changes?
So at the end, the developer made some changes before the vote, and so they
Were they
reduced the
aligned
total
to
number of
some our
units.
recommendations?
What, say that,
Were
ma'am?
they aligned to some of our recommendations on being consistent?
I think so, didn't they?
Is
They
it-
went down from
it dropped
4 to
from the
3.
floors, yeah.
Some yes, some no. I would suggest. I'm not
No, I'm
sure
not.
the planning commission, the zoning commission was completely satisfied, as you can see from their vote, that it wasn't. So
But they did.
so they reduced the total number of units from what originally was 580, 588, down to
432.
No.
So 428 or 432, they added a 27,000 square foot kind of flex office building off to the, or flex industrial building, undetermined kind of uses, then a 5,000 square foot restaurant in the end. And the commission found that wasn't mixed use enough, doing units.
So they denied it on the basis of not being sufficiently mixed use?
That's correct.
Wow.
We used language offered by this commission as well in their findings. Yeah, not. Well, I mean, the primary finding was that the application was not consistent with the intent and purpose of the Hartford Simsbury Fort Base Code.
Yep.
Because of those reasons. Not mixed use enough. Expectation that it should be more employment uses and more non-residential. That the residential uses were supposed to be intended as complementary to and not primary, and a host of other reasons.
Do you have any inkling of whether the applicant will take any further steps?
I don't have an inkling. To be determined.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Well, congratulations.
No, you should be congratulating, not me. I didn't.
You snaked it there.
I did apply for it without your knowledge necessarily. I didn't ask for your approval for that. Correct.
But the
Yeah,
town
nice
staff
little
did a ton of
work.
work. Yeah, come on, it was, yeah,
Yeah.
it was,
You should take a bow, George.
yeah.
Should we get a nice little logo on our planning page?
I
where
know.
We can like tout this.
We could do
on
something.
when the planning.
Maybe on the town page even.
Yeah.
I'll wait. I think I'll wait for the planning association to put their. They'll do a press release and all that, and I'll roll it out a little more.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Any other?
I want to go back to the agenda item of the Regional Planning Commission.
Yes.
George, on the application, is there a request for backup to a representative?
You know, I just had the reporting form up before I came in here. I don't know, Bill. I don't know whether there's a request for a second.
I seem to remember we always had a backup.
Yeah, I don't remember that we did when you were last appointed, but I don't remember specifically.
I'm sure we can always substitute someone.
Yeah.
They don't check IDs.
Yeah, and Bill's being a little bit coy. I mean, he has a leadership role now with that planning commission, the regional planning commission. He's vice president, so we want to reappoint him. That's a good thing. We want to keep him going.
But in the event that I'm not available,
Yeah.
we certainly want to have someone at least
Yeah, I mean,
involved in the meeting.
yes. So I mean, you can take action to do that at any time. Put on your,
Okay.
you do it next time, and I'll ask the question of the COG too if they will. I can
Or
do that.
if we could just.
Well, I
bring
know
it to
that Jacob Knowlton already knew
Yeah.
that you were going to submit.
Yeah, I did. I talked to Jacob. Yeah.
That's good.
So, all right, any other questions? All right, so with no other questions, without objection, I'm gonna end the meeting at 8:02.